In our next story, we learn about the Japanese tradition of Shinkendo. The martial art was originally used as a form of combat for samurai warriors, but it has evolved into an exercise of poise and control.
Shinkendo は、体力的なこととそれから精神的なこと、そういうことを一番基本にして人生真剣道というのを一番基本に考えております。
At its core, Shinkendo is the comprehensive study of Japanese swordsmanship. Its ancient techniques date back 1,500 years to the time of the samurai. Toshishiro Obata is a descendant of a long line of prestigious samurai and has made it his life's mission to resurrect the true way of the sword.
私がアメリカに来たのは1980年の終わり12月8日、それから今32年、やっぱ祖先が残してくれたみんなそれぞれの人が DNA を持ってるわけですけども、なるだけそれをプラスの方向にやっぱ正しい、しかもプラスの方向に持っていかないと、プラスの点を取るのはものすごく難しいんですね。
The arsenal of weapons at a student's disposal begins with a bokken, or wooden sword.
Kaiso always talks about examples how people who are quote unquote higher level and yet they have some scars on their hand from not being able to put the sword back into the sides. So what we try to enforce is using the bokto, or the wooden sword, and treating it like a sword.
Shinkendo は5つの組み立てからなっています。素振り、抜刀法、鍛錬型はフォームの形のトレーニングですから、いつでもどこでもできるんですけども、ナンバー4の4番目の太刀打ちは人と人との付き合い。
A lot of martial arts will talk about how we train to fight so that we don't have to fight. We're going to be peaceful, but train to fight. Shinkendo, you train to fight with a sword. And really, I'm never going to fight with a sword. I'm never going to reach into my sword bag and go, that's it, I'm going to fight you with a sword. It's never going to happen. So I can kind of separate the scary reality of combat from the purity of the technique.
As the student advances, he is able to use an iaito, or dulled steel sword. Eventually, he can wield a shinken, or a live blade.
5番目は自分のレボーがどのぐらい、自分の力がどのぐらい上がったかということをテストする意味で試し切りを行っていました。
Tameshigiri originated as a way to test the quality of a new sword. In ancient Japan, new swords used to be tested on condemned criminals or corpses. In the mid-19th century, that practice became illegal, so alternative means for testing swords were developed, like this target, a stalk of green bamboo wrapped in soaked tatami mats made from rice straw. It has the same consistency as a large human arm. If the swordsman has been trained well, these rolled-up tatami mats don't stand a chance.
簡単なものを切るのは誰でもできます。ただそれを訓練した教官、あるいは熟練者で自分も安全、他人も安全、刀も傷めない、そういうために訓練が必要だし、 ただむやみに切るだけじゃなくて、形、足さばき、体さばき、剣さばき、そういうものができて、
The science of Shinkendo relies on precision, control, and uncompromising attention to detail, which is why the art of test cutting takes decades to perfect.
I train in Shinkendo almost every day to the point where if a moving object comes towards me, I move out of the way. I know exactly how fast it's moving because I spend my evenings dodging swords. So when a car or a person with a coffee cup comes at me, I'm moving already. It's built in. So I'm developing the reflexes, the timing, the distance awareness.
You learn various concepts through the martial arts, and it's taught me a lot about awareness, making sure that I'm away from threats, and that I keep myself safe so I can keep training.
Shinkendo is very much natural movement. Instead of going to a gym and just building your body for the sake of building your bodies, you're building muscles that are actually, like you feel like you're contributing to something and you're focusing on something.
By day, Jordan Raffo studies chemical engineering at the University of Southern California. By night, Jordan is a samurai, training with fellow students at the USC Shinkendo Club.
Those ideas of timing, rhythm, distance, like putting force behind your punches, like you can hurt someone with that. We aren't going around fighting with swords with people. It's what martial arts can do because it applies to that larger part of your life.
Jordan isn't the only aspiring young samurai. He is among several other USC students who practice Shinkendo under the instruction of Nicholas Lauritsen sensei.
I've been really encouraged by the seriousness and the depth of interest and passion that these students have shown in the Shinkendo Club. I think these students are finding not only cultural experience, but something that is very intensely personal and develops themselves and cultivates them into better human beings.
I think Shinkendo, in a lot of ways, is going to expand to the point where people are teaching it in business school the same way that they teach Book of Five. This is actually written from that perspective, but knowing that a modern audience is actually going to apply this in different ways, that they're not setting up ambushes, they're actually living their day-to-day lives, living their business lives, and how to live that sincerely, but with full awareness of translating from the sword to real life.
That's all for this edition of Impact. Be sure to check out all our episodes at uscimpact.org. Now let's take a look at some of our upcoming stories.